How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's Nascar DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Roller 31. Mega, we had ourselves a little weekend off, but you were able to get a video up for Saturday. Xfinity race, I believe. Cup, we couldn't get one done because of the
format.
Format with the heat races and everything beforehand in the All-Star race. Good to be back together, ready to talk some truck series. I mean, last week I'm ready to just put that behind us. A lot of misfortune in like all three races, but you'll have that. But what are your thoughts on last weekend? Are you excited for Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, I like Texas as a track. It was just some bad luck. Like Chastain on the restart there got dehydrated and just it dropped all the way back, and the guys had to take tires, and then there's some unfortunate bad luck in Xfinity, and then they got to figure out the tires for Cup because like having was it Chastain shooting over Kyle Busch and taking out like Chase Elliott, and that was just and then yeah, it was just a mess. I'm so glad. This is a nice track. I think it's going to be a good weekend. So
yeah, I mean, I was sitting pretty. I felt like we got some really low ownership, surprisingly, on Busher. Everyone kind of flocked to Ricky Stenhouse and Eric Jones in the back of the pack for that Cup race. Rightfully so. Some of the faster cars in the back of the pack. So I just went the opposite route, went with some of the lower owned guys, and I had the same chalky, Chase Elliott's, Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch dominator theories, but just tried to switch it up with the value. And man, it was looking good until that blown tire, and all three of them wrecked. It sucked. So ready to get past that. We have Charlotte Motor Speedway for the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. 134 laps for this truck race. We are dealing with qualifying tomorrow at 2 p.m. So we are in hypothetical land. Break it down just for maybe some of the new listeners, what we usually do on Friday nights.
Yeah, and the last time we did this, like a couple guys popped just from the data, and some people played them and actually won a lot of money because even they translated in reality. So what we usually do here is we take their season data, their track data, and then look at like similar races. So last year a bunch of guys ran here, and then Kansas and Texas, who they just raced at, are very similar tracks and format. So kind of cook it all together and come up with the mathematical formula, and then however they finish with all their like speed and rankings is how I'll project them to qualify. And then we'll look at the DK scoring system and see what we can come up with from there. So
yeah, we're taking a lot of different moving parts here, trying to make it work without that qualifying lineup. So bear with us. We're doing this off the best we can, but we can talk theories, and plenty of it in this race. We're going to start off with Kyle Busch. Always the dominant force whenever he hops in the trucks. 14-4, you're absolutely paying for it. Your thoughts on Kyle Busch?
I'm always torn on these Kyle Busch because he hasn't been as dominant this year as he has in the past. Has he won a race in truck?
I'm sure he has. I can't imagine he hasn't.
Let's see here. Let's switch screens. Kyle Busch.
No, he hasn't.
No, he's got 0 wins. He's got 3 top 5. So
oh, that smells like a victory.
And here's the other thing. So basically they can run 5. So he's got this one and probably one more chance to win here. But NASCAR hates him doing this, and especially it seems like he gets like pit road speeding penalties, and it's like a giant game of shoots the ladders. He does like really well, moves the way up, and he gets knocked to the back of the pack and then has to fight his way all the way back up again. It's just I don't know. It's hard. And usually when it happens like this, for the newer viewers, I usually split my cash in half. I usually go Kyle Busch lineup, a non-Kyle Busch lineup, and then my money in my 50-50s and double ups, just evenly kind of divide them and multipliers. And then if he does dominate like he's supposed to, then I am okay. If he doesn't dominate and you paid a lot of money, then hopefully the guys that I picked in my contrarian lineup go off, and I usually have lower ownership and leverage, so that usually powers me up there. So and you're thinking, like, if you split the cash, like, aren't you going to end up breaking even? Not necessarily, because usually what happens is if you hit the multiplier with it, or like some of your GPPs are strong enough, then you definitely make a decent profit. But I just don't feel like putting all my eggs in one basket. Yeah, I don't want to completely fade them, so that's why I do the split, and it works for me.
Yeah, that's absolutely a good call there. I'm probably just going to go 100%, just based on track history, average run, with Texas, and how well he does on those intermediate tracks. Plus, he's going to get truck practice. We know with Kyle Busch, anytime this guy gets a chance to practice any vehicle he's driving for a race, the better. He is a guy that is a guy of habit, and he's going to get a couple laps in this thing before he hits the track for race day. So I'm going to have probably 85% Kyle Busch, and just, you know what, if he doesn't win and something random happens, then congratulations everybody else. But I'm going to make a bunch of different variation of Kyle Busch lineups and see what happens. Next up, I do like this price tag here, Ryan Preece. I'm really hope he doesn't qualify too high, because I love to get a little bit of place differential. I think this guy is a top 5 car or top 5 truck. What are your thoughts?
Well, he's only raced once here in a truck, and he's led 27 laps, but
yeah,
all season long, I think he's raced 3 or 4 races this year, and I believe he's got every single one he's finished in the top 5. So Ryan Preece,
top 5 run.
Yeah, has 4 races this year, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Yeah, so when he's out there, and this is a decent truck too. So it's the one that, like, I think Tate Fulgerman was in last year.
It's a Gilliland Racing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was David's old, or not David, Todd. No, David.
Yeah, no, because Todd was in the one that Zane Smith is in right now, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, the 38. You're right.
Yeah. So, but still, it's a good truck. It's good equipment, and I mean, he's spent time in Cup. Wasn't great, but he was like Chris Buescher. Like, we used to play him. He was like a light version of Chris Buescher. He was a cheap guy that would usually score well and could be consistent, and was never going to win a race, but was never going to finish dead last. So, and now in the truck series, he's pretty talented compared to the field. So, yeah.
Yeah, he should absolutely be a full-time driver on a team in either of these truck series or Xfinity series. I think he's going to get a full-time ride next year. Love him here at 9,300. I think that's a perfect price tag. Maybe, obviously it can always be lower, but I don't think 9,300 is too expensive. Next up is probably everybody's GPP theory this week for the truck video or truck series. That is John Hunter Nemechek. Your thoughts? 11-5.
I have him as cash, and like I said, it's really hard to put him in the Kyle Busch lineup. But he was on he completely dominated qualifying at Kansas, but he didn't finish. I don't think he ended up winning the race, right? Zane Smith won the race.
Zane Smith won.
Yeah, so he just kept on like fading back. So he started off the season like really slow, like not like he's like finishing, like he had some bad luck and stuff, but just hasn't been as dominating as he was last year. So, but his current form, he's been better in the last couple of races. So
last 2 races, he's logged in top 6 performances with a win at Darlington.
Yeah. So I think that he's getting closer to the cash realm, but like I said, it's probably going to be, I don't know. I think I might change him to GPP.
Well,
I think I'd rather put definitely Zane Smith in his current format and as a cash play here.
Right. If Kyle Busch is anywhere outside of I would say anywhere in between, starting 5th and maybe 8th, and maybe Hunter Nemechek gets the pole. I mean, there you go. I mean, that's your GPP pivot right there. Just log in maybe Nemechek dominating the early portion of the race, and Kyle Busch doesn't meet value, and then hey, maybe something happens within the confines of the race and Kyle Busch wrecks, or he has a pit road penalty, like you said earlier, and you're sitting pretty good with Nemechek and maybe even another dominator in that 10K range if you can squeeze it with value, but value pretty scarce on this slate. Next up, we have Christian Eckes at 8,900. Decent performance last week, but without a really drastically bad starting position, I don't think I'll be on that page.
Yeah, same here. If you look through the people around him, they have more experience or, there's better drivers. So no objection to him. He's been decent currently, especially like last week. But I just don't, unless you, like you said, unless he doesn't qualify well, not interested.
Yeah, every time, like so many good drivers got, taken out in that truck race. Yeah, I don't know. He was just kind of like there at the end just to be there. I didn't think he would ever have a chance of winning. Next up is Zane Smith, 10-8. We really took advantage of his starting position last race. This guy can dominate races. Your thoughts on Zane?
He's quickly becoming one of my favorite truck drivers.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's definitely a talented guy. He's only raced here twice, average finish 6.5.
Yeah.
I know 10-8 is kind of hard, but I don't know.
John Hunter Nemechek lineup.
Yeah, but the problem, you get a savings there, but you then you got to consider like Ross Chastain is in this field too at 10-4.
Sure.
Who's a cup driver who's been very successful. And I know he burned a lot of people, and I think his ownership will be lower because of last week, and we'll get to him in a little bit. But I really like Zane Smith. I see a lot of floor with him. I see, it's a good program. He's kind of reminds me of like what John Hunter Nemechek was doing last year. Whether there's cup drivers in here or not, he's still in contention. Great program, great truck, great team. So, in cash, like if I can give him in a Kyle Busch lineup, he's fine. Or if I'm doing my split one, then he'd probably be the first one I put in the non-Kyle Busch lineup.
Yeah, won 3 times this year: Kansas, Daytona, and the Circuit of Americas. The Kansas victory really sticks out to us. That's what we're leaning on here with the course setup. So it looks like Zane Smith in for a decent day. If we can figure out how to fit all of that, then by all means. Ty Majeski, I love that you put him as a prime play. Now, we don't typically, throw up Ty Majeski love that often, but 8,300, lovely price tag. It's going to take a top 5 starting spot for me to feel indifferent about Ty Majeski this week. I think he's a perfect driver too.
I think even if he starts in the top 5, he's still fine. He has just been so consistent recently, and he's so like every week I bet him he's gonna get the top prize. He's gonna win one of these races eventually soon. And I think he had a bunch of seconds, and he just really let go at one of the post race press conferences and just said, I am sick of finishing second, and I am going to do everything I can possibly do to learn from these second place ones, and I am going to win. And I think it's coming soon. And at 83, I think that's a great price tag for somebody that's really trying and not just going through the motions and stuff. He and his team's putting him in. It's a great team, Thor Sports, and they're putting him in a great position. So I think this guy has a very bright future.
Yeah, finished 5th last week at Texas Motor Speedway. Next up, we have Chandler Smith, 10-1. GPP, I think, is perfect designation for him. Not really sure how much interest I'm going to have. I can't play everyone up here, so I might be fading Chandler Smith.
He's boo or bust. He's the Brandon Jones of the truck series.
Yeah. And that's just how it shakes out. Like, I want to play Nemechek. I want to play Kyle Busch. I probably want to be playing some Ross Chastain. I just don't know where I can fit him in my player pool. Like, I don't think he's a terrible play, but I also don't think he's the best available inside that 10 to 11.5. So
He's Kyle Busch in Cup. He's Brandon Jones in Xfinity. It's all the same play. They have tremendous upside, but they wreck a lot and end up like dead last. So if he's on, he's on, and if he beats me, great. But I'm probably going to see him behind the wall more races than I care to.
yeah, barring any kind of crazy incidents in, qualifying, there's a good chance he doesn't even qualify that well. And if he does, then that's an easy fade. If he does qualify in the back, then I understand everything kind of changes. So
And I wouldn't surprise me if he qualifies second, because that's what he's been doing. Like these Kyle Busch trucks have qualified well, but they just don't necessarily hold it throughout the rest of the race.
Right. Next up, Stuart Friesen, winner last week.
Kind of a surprise.
Really pumped for that. Really happy to see him win. Not a journeyman, but just a solo car team for so long. It was really cool to see Stuart Friesen come through. Your thoughts on him this week, though, at Charlotte?
I think he's still a cash play based on his current form and his experience and everything, but he's better on tracks, and it all depends. Like if it's going to be hot there and this track's going to be slick, he's great on tracks like that. If there's a lot of grip, then not so good. So I think at 91, based on like some of the other plays here, he's decent, but you might find him like no man's land, especially if you're trying to play Kyle Busch. You might have to get two guys up there, and then you're automatically in the 6 and 7K range.
Yeah, I will say this: he's my second favorite 9K play behind Ryan Preece. So I would probably favor him over, like Ben Rhodes, Hocevar, just some guys I feel like are way too overpriced. Next up is Ben Rhodes, 9,800. Yeah, I'll let you go first. Take it away.
I just like his experience on these tracks. Like he's been around, he's a veteran, he knows them. So that always comes into play. His current form hasn't been bad. He won the dirt race, and then has been decently running. He had a couple, I think somebody ran into him. I think it might have been his teammate that clipped him or something. So he had a little bit of damage, but he still stayed competitive last race in Texas. So again, it all depends. If he qualifies down, then definitely it's going to be somebody to look at. 9.8, again, it's going to be a kind of a hard price tag to fit in, but I think you got to look at the context of qualifying. I think he's definitely playable in cash, but if he's starting like third or fourth, then and it's not like weird guys that if like for some reason Grant Engfinger and trying to think, and like maybe Matt Crafton, are the ones that are like 1-2, then I know that he could potentially get out ahead of them. I might consider him, but if it's like Kyle Busch starting up there and Zane Smith, then no.
Right. Yeah, I might be out on Ben Rhodes. Not really sure. I mean, 3 top 5s in 6 races, but 5 of them are top 10s. Maybe I'll have to rethink that. Or am I looking at? No, yeah, I'm looking at the right thing. Anyway, next up we have Matt DiBenedetto, Rackley War Machines, the 25, 8,100, not a bad price tag, but
he needs to finish. He needs to qualify below 15th, because that seems to be his ceiling.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if it's driver or car related, but this team isn't firing off like they were last year, and
definitely not.
DiBenedetto's not necessarily the perfect fit either.
Nope.
Matt Crafton, Thor Sport 85. Take it away.
I like the discount. He's raced here 19 times, won twice, 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Average finish here at Charlotte is 10-3. Like, and he's 8,500. So you always got to look at his experience on all these tracks compared to the rest of the field. Like, just really knowing them. Again, it's going to be qualifying, and it's the same thing as Ben Rhodes. Not as much experience. Like Ben Rhodes doesn't have as much experience as Crafton, but you know, if he's starting in like the top five, and then there's guys, and I know there's no way he's going to get to lead, and there's somebody else like down below that's probably going to get up and dominate later on in the race, then I'm not interested. But if Matt Crafton qualifies like 17th, then yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Derek Kraus, 7,700. I was initially thinking no here because the price increase, but I haven't found much value I like, so I'm on the fence about Kraus.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Took a little step back last week, but he was average running position last year in Charlotte was 9.6, and Kansas he ran pretty well too. Two races here, his average finish is 12th. So the model has him starting 12th and finishing 14th. So if he starts and finishes in the same spot, I think he's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would probably have to be the route. Next up, we have Ross Chastain at 10-4. Certainly going to have some exposure here in the 41. I don't think he's cash. If I can stretch it to him, sure, but I'm playing Kyle Busch, so I don't know if I'll have room for a 10K driver.
But what if like Kyle Busch has an issue in practice or some for weird reason, there's weather and it gets rained out, and or like what if Chastain has the pole and Busch is starting like 9th?
Yeah,
You're gonna play him because he's gonna get up there.
like if qualifying is rained out and Chastain has to start in the back,
Yeah,
I could see that argument. Okay, place differential here, possible win equity. It just planets would align for the Ross Chastain to be the optimal play over
you wouldn't play him if he had the pole.
Chastain.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd actually feel more risky on that. I don't know if he'd be able to hold it, but then
what if it's like Ross Chastain, Chandler Smith in second, Grant Inkfinger, and Christian Eckes? That's your top four. You're gonna play him.
Yeah. I think in that case, sure. But Kyle Busch, Priest, and Nemechek are right behind him. Then I'm worried one of the three are going to have a better setup coming off the truck or coming out of practice, and he's just kind of screwed.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not too high on Chastain. Next up, we have Carson Hocevar in the 42. Man, the price tag has been elevated for Mr. Hocevar, but he had a really strong finish last week.
Yeah, like Majeski, he's been in really good form recently and looking for his first win also. So Majeski's got a better truck. I mean, these trucks are not garbage, but they're like a step below like the Thor Sports ones. So
yeah. 8,700 Grant Enfinger. It's another price tag I think is a little too high. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's in the GMS truck now, not a Thor Sports truck. I mean, the GMS trucks are okay, but again, they're
outside the top 15 lately. But
yeah,
he's also been qualifying there, so it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, so you need him to probably like my projection has him finishing 12th. So if he qualifies 15th or worse, yes.
Makes sense.
But he's one that I fear that's going to qualify like third or something, and you're gonna be like,
yeah,
no.
I have that gut feeling too. That's kind of why I led on to that notion. I have a feeling you might qualify too high. All right, Tyler Ankrum, Vittori, the 16
GPP. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's not much else to say. Multi-entry GPP kind of play. Doesn't have to be a total fade. There is a possibility of a top 5. It's not extremely likely, but 7-9, not terrible. I don't know. Low percentage for Ankrum. Next up, Jack Wood, 6,700 GMS the 24.
He'd have to start worse than 20th. 67, I like the price, but I think his ceiling is 20th. So in order to get some place differential and finish where I need to, he needs to start like anywhere 25th to 20th or better or worse to be better. So
all righty. Next up, we have Haley Deegan, 6,500 in the number 1. This is the play I really hope we turn out to have that decent value on. So I'm hoping she qualifies poorly because she's actually been racing pretty well lately. Haley had a 17th place finish at Kansas, And at Texas Motor Speedway last week, she finished inside the 17th. So, if she qualifies 25th, gets to 17th, that's all we could ask for at 60.
I think that's misleading though, because she was higher up like consistently. I just think there was like with some of the restarts, there's things got shuffled and some bad luck. A couple weeks ago too, she got in a fight with somebody after a race.
Oh yeah, that disagreement. Yeah.
So I think she's really like understanding and trying. She's not like one that's just there like to like try to like model and sell her brand and everything. She wants to be successful race car driver. So
Sure.
yeah. And she started off the season slow, and we were like really disappointed because we saw a lot of progress last year. She was so young and she was doing well, and started out horrible, but recently I think we've seen some promise. 65 is a great price in context of the slate.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be playing a lot of her tomorrow unless she qualifies like 7th or something.
Correct. I couldn't agree more. Next up, we have Jesse Little, another value play here, marked as a prime play. So I'm going to let you take this away. I just want to say I will be playing Jesse Little.
I just like his price, his consistency. It's a decent truck, the O2 here. He's 24th, 20th average run position. So if he starts like 20th or less, you're good. And it actually his average finish here in 3 races is 17th. He's got a lot of experience here in Xfinity. So he's just like kind of a plug and play guy in your cash lineups each week. He comes in a good price. He's got decent equipment. He's not going to start in park. He's not going to make mistakes. He's just a solid floor building block.
Yeah. All right, next 2 I'll lump together. Tanner Gray, Austin Wayne Self.
Pricing is getting a little bit high. We're down to 10 minutes, so we need to fly through this. So,
wow.
Yeah, not really interested in either of them. The prices are kind of high. We'll kick this into speed mode here. And
we have the ending. It's not going to be,
so not super interested in them unless Austin Wayne Self maybe, but like his pricing is getting like way too high. Brandon Poole, the glory for God, has done better recently. He's been running in the 20s, but still like there's been issues with the program. It looks like he's in the 47 and not the 46, which is the second truck, which kind of, it looks like Ryan Huff's going to have the primary one, but I've also seen Tim Veens, who's not in the DK pool, potentially listed. So we'll just have to see what happens there. I don't think one of these trucks might not qualify. Timmy Hill, I like. He's got a solid program, solid truck, but again, we need him to start probably somewhere into the low 20s to be value.
All right, hold up. I just wanted to add a few things. I do like Austin Wayne Self 7,100, but if he does qualify too high, I think the price tag takes out all his value. But I do think Tanner Gray is kind of qualified proof. Like even if Tanner Gray qualifies inside that top 20, I don't mind still playing him unless he starts inside like the top 12. But if he starts anywhere from 12 to 20, I don't mind playing Tanner Gray because I do think that upside is there, but I don't think it's there with Austin Wayne Self. We're going to need a really bad qualifying lap. Pool, I'm not sure if I'm there with the glory to God yet. Timmy Hill, I think, is going to be pretty chalky.
Okay, Chase Purdy, I think, is too expensive, although he's been decent recently, 13 and 18th average running position, but last year at Charlotte, he was 28th, finished 34th. So, no thanks there. Rayum, I think he's a decent punt. 2 races here, 26, but again, you need him starting like in the back of the field. For anything like that. Fulgham, almost 7K. I think he's a fade. He's 34th average running position here last year, 25th average running position in the last couple of races. Like he'll have flashes of brilliance, but I just almost 7K. No, if he was 5,900, yes.
30th, or he finished 30th. He finished 20th at Kansas. It's not terrible,
right? But for 6,900, no.
Yeah, you're gonna need that upside and a little bit more. Next up is Chris Wright. No.
Oh,
Yeah, seems like every time this guy's on the track, there's an issue. Colby Howard. This is a surprise. 7,500.
yeah, it's a hard one because he ran really well at Kansas, but he didn't run well at Texas.
Bad at Texas. He wrecked early.
Yeah,
Really screwed me.
yeah, and I had a lot of them, so that really hurt me. So
Which one
I
shows
think
up, Kansas or Texas?
I don't know, but if it was a 6K price tag, I'd like it. Like
Yeah,
75,
sure.
I think is like getting into like no man's land there for like
Yep.
a value play. So
A little
if
too
I
low.
land on him, I consider him depending on qualifying, but other than that, not super interested.
Yeah. Who is this Ryan Huff? Any thoughts?
Glory to God truck. He had the average running position of like 30th, and so it's better than like some of the other guys, but these Glory to God trucks have struggled to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah.
But Huff seemed to be able to do so. So I don't know. Um,
Okay.
do you have a threat of potentially not qualifying? So
Yep. That's what I figured. I'll wait for practice and qualifying. Spencer Boyd, Dean Thompson, Blaine Perkins, Keith McGee. Any love there?
no, not really. Maybe Dean Thompson
Maybe
because he's
Dean.
going for rookie of the year and he's in a niece truck, which is decent. 19th
Maybe.
average running position in Kansas, 28th in Texas. So
Oh, there
I
we go.
think out of all of them, I think he's the one that interests me the most.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Blaine Perkins, nah. No, especially no on Keith McGee. Lawless Allen. It's not a terrible truck for the 45.
No, but he's just had some bad luck too.
Sure.
Um, Finished 30th here last year, so
Yeah. Um, yeah, 30th last week at Texas. Timothy Veens, Matt Mills, Max Gutierrez.
well, Veens, like I said, he's not in a DK pool, but I did see that he potentially could be racing one of the Glory for God trucks. So it's between Pool, Huff, and Veens. I don't know if DK will add him if he is actually in there, but I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, probably not even going to
Yeah,
qualify.
I could do Huff or Pool potentially, but like Pool at 554, no. Matt Mills, like in Xfinity, I liked him, but in this truck, this young motorsports truck doesn't run that often, and it's usually somewhere in like the mid 30s. So unless he's starting like, and I don't can't even guarantee he's going to run the full race or stay on the lead
Yeah,
laps. So I'm not interested. Max Gutierrez, I don't even know if this truck is going to qualify. I
sure.
don't see him like listed on. I see him listed on some of the truck entries, but not all of them. AM Racing is the team that
I
who's the
don't
guy
follow him.
who's the guy for On Point Racing, the main Brett Moffitt. Brett Moffitt raced in this truck last year. So Max Gutierrez is an ARCA guy. He's not even a great ARCA guy. He's an average ARCA guy. Coming up and potentially running this. Like he's in the DK player pool, but I haven't seen him listed in everybody's entry pool for this race. So I don't even know if he's going to qualify or be a factor. But if he starts absolutely dead last, then I think he's better than the Glory of the God truck. So I just play him based on 5,200, knowing that he can get at least 3 place differential points.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. That'll wrap things up for the player by player breakdown. Any final thoughts for Charlotte before we say goodbye?
No, if you watch this video, it's usually as a reward to you. What we will do is the race doesn't lock till 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Check back the video around 7 o'clock or so, and I've been trying to post a couple, of thoughts like, hey, after qualifying in practice, here's kind of some people that we're liking for our core plays now. Here's some people to fade, some things like that. So, unfortunately, we can't give you the 100% accurate information here, but we can if you come back and check this video later on as an appreciation for watching it and getting to this point to understand that we're going to do that. The comments really will try to help you later on tomorrow night.
Yeah, please comment below any questions. Hey, even throw a reminder out there to post some content if we can before we get to the start of the race. So yeah, like the video, comment below. Thank you, Mega, for joining me this late in the evening. So hopefully this video sees you well tomorrow morning. when we probably have time to post. All right, guys. Thank you for listening in again. See you tomorrow for the Xfinity breakdown and Saturday night for the Cup breakdown. So enjoy Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Good luck.